In today's video, I'm going to show you how to get thicker guitar tones out of your modeler of choice using parallel programming.
All right, so here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to build out an amp preset, and then I'm going to show you how to use parallel programming to basically get two mics on a cab. If you're unfamiliar with parallel programming, you can think of it as basically being able to split your guitar signal in half, and you can allow it to hit two different things or two different signal paths without blending against each other. So I created a video of how you can use this to get better reverbs if you're using parallel programming for delay and reverb. You can separate delay from reverb, and it doesn't get as mushy. We're going to do something similar today, but instead of using it to split a guitar signal between, say, a delay and a reverb, we're going to have one amp head, two cabs, and we're going to mic the cabs with two different styles of microphones so you can hear what it does. So for today, I'm feeling a little edgy, so we're going to do a high gain amp. We're going to use the Van Halen Red amp. Before I do that, though, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to go to my signal volume, and I'm going to increase it to 78%. Now, on the Toolmaster Pro, it's simple. I have presets for this. If you're using a different modeler, like, for example, I have an Axe FX3, so in the fractal space, post-amp, you'll have to create basically two signal chains coming out of your amp and get those routed into your cab, and then take that signal chain and splice it back to your one output. But with the Toolmaster Pro, we're going to hit parallel 1. If you're going to use the amp trick that I showed in the last YouTube video, you can do a parallel 2. So you can still do this technique and separate your delay from your reverb. All right, so this is what we're going to do. So our signal path, now I'm going to add a block. We're going to add it here, and we're going to put two cabinets. The cabinet I'm going to use from the Toolmaster Pro is going to be the Van Halen, but you can use anything. It doesn't matter. All right, first things first, we're going to just dial in the tone on one amp cab. Hey, I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you for all the feedback I've gotten on my videos. I appreciate all of y'all, and I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to share this out and tag me on it wherever you're at, Damien Andy. All right, let's get back to the show. Before I do this, I'm going to pull it out. I'm also going to pull up the preset volume a little bit. It's a little low in my headphones. All right, all I was doing was going down to the bridge pickup and took it off a coil split. All right, so I talked about this briefly in my last video, talking about cutting frequencies. This is actually doing an aggressive lowing cut. It's doing 90, but the high end, in my opinion, is a little too high. I do aggressive high and low filter cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll cut this at, let's do 8. Just so you can hear for reference. You hear how it's kind of got like a little edge to it at on the very high end frequencies. But when I cut down to, let's say, 8.6, my ear interprets that as being warmer. So I typically do this on all of my cabs. For the sake of demonstrational purposes, I'm going to use a different microphones than what I usually use, just so we can explore, and the concepts, it's breaking me out of my own practices. But typically what I will do, or what I've been fond of doing lately, is using an SM57 for one cab and a ribbon mic for the other. We're still going to use a ribbon cab, or a ribbon mic, but we're going to use a condenser mic to start out. I'm going to just mess around with positions. Here, feel free to experiment. Like, you're going to watch me experiment in real time. I don't have something prepared. But I'm going to explain what I'm listening for, and hopefully that'll help you come up with your own process, because that's the hardest part when you're getting into all this, is coming up with your own process and what you enjoy. So hopefully this will be beneficial to those still trying to figure that out. Typically, I have the most amount of experience using real amp tubes, or tube amps, using a 57 mic. So this is a different mic for me, so I don't know what I like yet. So we're just going to experiment. So I'm going to start off right in the middle of the cap edge, and we're basically right on it. I like how that sounds, honestly. But I want to pull it back just to hear if the frequencies change or how they change. Okay, I'm going to keep it here on the front because it's a little bit more on the high end focus to my ear. And I want that because I'm going to be double miking this with a ribbon mic. And a ribbon mic is going to do a really good job of getting the lows and mids. So I think with the condenser mic on the cap edge, getting a little bit more of the mids and highs, I think this is going to achieve what I want, which is ultimately a thick guitar tone. Okay, so we're going to keep it simple. I'm going to leave it there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the volume down on this and pump the volume on B because I'm going to add another cab, and I just want to isolate that cab. And then I'll go in and I'll work on blending the two. So you can do any cab. It doesn't have to be the same cab, but for demonstrational purposes, I'm going to use the same exact cab and just double mic it. So now what I'm going to do is a ribbon mic. And a ribbon mic is going to be very warm, very, very warm in comparison. Let me show you the difference. It's crazy how much of a difference a microphone makes, right? This is what I was talking about in my last video of why I think tube amps. The days of tube amps are limited. And it's because when you start realizing how much of a microphone plays a part, you realize it's less about the tubes and more about because the microphone is basically the gatekeeper, right? Once you get used to the world of miking your amp, you understand the power that a microphone brings. It's damn near impossible to capture the full sound of an amp in a room. The cap is always, how am I recording it? So if you're ever watching something, and how are you listening to it, you know? Because if you're watching just like a live stream where they don't have a DI and you're not using headphones, the two places that the tone is getting capped is by the dynamic microphone in a phone and your dynamic speaker in your phone. So when you're jumping into this world, first you might just be like, oh, it's all about the tube amp. I got to have that warmth in the room. And while that's valid, there's so much more to it because it's how do I capture that tone and how do I make sure you're listening to the tone that I'm listening to, right? So I can't control what you can control, but I can control what I can control. And what I can control is mic placement and trying to get all the subtleties of tone that I want perfected. So, and microphones allow us to capture different frequency responses because maybe there's certain stuff in your amp that you're unaware that you don't enjoy until you learn how to mic it and you hear it, you're like, okay, that's not what I'm hearing. So experiment with this. If you have a couple of I don't know you. Maybe you have some microphones hanging out at your house that you can experiment with. If you have a modeler, it's easy. You can just change it on here. And this is why I preach modeling for the average musician. This will save you so much time and heartache. But, okay. So we've already got the cap edge. What I want to do is pull out and mic the cone. Let's see what it sounds like pulled back a little. Yeah, it's having the opposite effect. I don't want higher end frequencies. I want lower. All right. I definitely like the cone edge more for what I'm trying to go for. Now, next thing we need to do is we're going to do another high cut. We're going to cut down to 8.5. We could even, I'm going to pull this back a little for what we're trying to do, meaning I'm going to allow a little bit more low end through this mic than I did the other one. Yeah, I like how that sounds, actually. Yeah, and When it comes to your low cut and high cut filter, you just need to ask yourself, listen to your tone and say, is this good, or do I need to take away some highs, or do I need to take away some lows? One common issue you will have playing with modelers, and I've had this both with the Axe FX 3 and the Tonemaster Pro, so I am just going to make a generalization that this is a struggle for all modelers. Modelers, because they have a full dynamic range response that they can mess with, being digital, a lot of the times things can either be too high frequency where it sounds fake and almost artificial, or you can have the opposite effect where things are just so bass driven and they're boomy. So if things are boomy, meaning that it's just a ton of bass, sounds like almost like a subwoofer, pull your low cut more aggressively up. Don't be afraid to cut higher than you normally would, because every system's different. So what I'm doing is working on my headphones and for recording. If you're playing through an in-house PA and your guitar tone is just like taking over the bass space, do a more aggressive cut on your low cut. Go up to maybe 100, 120, experiment. Again, there's no set rules. Some people might say that's a little too hard, but it's all about your system. Everybody's system's so different. Same thing with your high cut. I typically do a very aggressive high cut filter. I like the mid-range of a guitar. I think that's the sweet spot. So I try to cut back on the very highs, because our highs can be piercing. Unless if that's what you like. I have just always been a Gibson player who just enjoys a really warm guitar tone. So, you may differ. But again, the most important thing is just getting comfortable experimenting and consciously experiment. So yes, mess around with stuff just for the sake of messing around with it. But if you find something you enjoy, if you can figure out why you enjoy it, it'll pay dividends. And anytime you're coming at, sitting down and creating a tone, don't continuously just create new tone after new tone after new tone, new tone, because you can get lost in this world where that's all you do. Like I found myself doing this with the Axe FX 3. I was spending way more time creating new tones because I wasn't finding what I enjoyed, rather than just sitting with one amp and just really dialing stuff in. So unless if you are just really quick at this, you know what you need for your show or whatever, I would just advise the average person getting into modeling, spend a lot of time on one amp, understand what this does, if understanding what presence is versus highs versus mids versus lows, and really diving into, or the things you can control in the amp. Yeah, so now what we need to do is we need to blend the two together. Both cabs running at the same time, and you're going to hear how thick the guitar tone is. And then I'll go back to solo cab so you can hear the difference. This is a song I'm currently writing. All right, now I'm going to go through and just show you one cab, what that sounds like. So here's a typical setup. And I'll show you the other cab just so you can hear it all. Here's both. So as you can hear, whenever you're running two cabs like this, and again, this is called parallel programming, I like to use this to really get thicker tones. And you can even get crazier and trade out different cabs. So, maybe you can do a Mesa Boogie cab and a deluxe reverb with a Jensen speaker cab. You can really do whatever you want with modeling. And that's the great thing about it. We no longer are reliant to giant gear and expensive upgrades. You buy one unit, you can do all this from it. Now, there are a couple of other cool things you can do on here. Now, you notice I have everything at Unity right now with my panning, meaning both of my amplifiers are at 50/50 power, and they are both just right in the center. If you're running a mono rig, like most of us who are gigging or just playing with a band, keep things here at Unity. You can try panning with mono, but I just find it doesn't get the desired effects. What is more powerful when you're running mono is just messing around with the mix here. Now, if you are running a modular stereo, one, leave a comment and let me know what type of FR speaker or how you're doing it, because that's something that's an area I want to grow in. Two, the other things, like if you're recording, what is awesome about this is that you can pan one hard left and hard right. Here, look, I typically go 30 left, 30 right in my recording. Now, I'm recording in stereo, so if you're watching me on your phone, this may not have the same effect. If you're listening to headphones, you're going to hear what I hear. So now, here it is in stereo. So what I will do when I'm recording is I will do this exact setup for recording rhythm guitars. Then I will put my lead both at Unity. I wonder if it'll do it if I just double click it. Nope. Now that would be cool if Fender would introduce some of these things. But yeah, if I'm doing any type of lead work, I keep it centered. But for rhythm guitars, I'll pan. And typically what I'll do is I'll do the same trick, and then I'll invert the cabs and switch pickups. So what I mean by that is if my first time around it's the bridge pickup and A is at -30 and B is at +30, when I go to my neck pickup, B will be at -30, A will be at +30. And it's just doing little tricks like this that are so subtle, but they really do add a lot to a mix. All right, that wraps up what parallel programming is to get thicker guitar tones. Again, this is just the iceberg. There's so much more for you to explore. If you enjoyed my content, let me know in the comment section of, at least one or two things that you learned from this and something that you're going to experiment next time you boot up your modular. Also, if you enjoy this nerdy guitar stuff and you want to study it at a deeper level, consider joining my Patreon. $5 a month gets you into the Cool Kids Club, where we talk about everything from parallel programming in great detail to sweep picking, legato exercises, and music theory for the songwriters. It's a great community. We got a bunch of good people over there. Consider checking it out. Link will be in the bio.